Shalom, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, if you're in Israel or you're in the US. So today we will talk a little bit about the coronavirus in Israel. We will talk about what did the government did, what the people are doing, how it's affect the country, and also how am I doing in quarantine? Yay, because I'm here from last Friday. So this is me landing in Israel. I needed to wear my mask. The whole flight was not very fun, but we made it. So let's talk a little bit about numbers and how everything started. First, end of January, I will say that in Israel, in the media, they talked a lot about the coronavirus even before someone got it. So I know that my friends were talking with me many times about what's going on in the US with the corona, if someone is talking about that. So really people talked about it in Israel, and the media was talking about it in Israel long before someone got corona. So in the end of January, a number of Israelis and Chinese stayed in quarantine after they returned from China. February 20th, and I'm sorry, I'm just figuring out the Zoom. Okay. February 20th, 11 passengers on the Diamond Princess cruise. I assume you heard about that. Their ship arrived to Israel after they stopped in Japan for a few days. They took all of them to a special quarantine area, all these 11 passengers. And in February 23rd, one of the Israelis who returned, they found out that he have the virus. February 28th, they found out that another person from that cruise have the coronavirus. February 27th, the first case of coronavirus was discovered in Israel. And when I'm saying the first case, I mean not the people that came from the ship, from the cruise, but someone from Israel inside of Israel. Apparently, he came back from Italy 4 days before. And what happened? He returned, and in these 4 days before they found out that he have corona, he managed to. Also, his wife got it, and he have a toy store, so his employee from the store got it, and also someone who is usually shop in his store also got the corona. So after these 4 days, they found out they have it, and he was the first one. February 28th, another 4 other people got the coronavirus. And by the end of February, the number of Israelis who sent home for quarantine because they had suspicions that they might have coronavirus was 5,630 people. It doesn't mean that they all have the virus. It means that they might have it because they were in contact with the person that have the corona. Because what they did also after that, you have a question?
I have a question.
Yes.
When you say numbers Israelis sent home, sent from where to, like from around the world home to Israel, or they were others left Israel?
In Israel, people that are living in Israel. So what happened is that every time that they found that someone have the virus, they basically share with the public where that person were in the days before. Mm-hmm. Like between 8 to 9 a.m., he was in that grocery store. Between 10 to 11, he went to that mall, and so and so. So people who were at the same place at the same time needed to go to quarantine. So I'm talking about people in Israel. Yes.
Thank you.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm late.
It's okay. Okay, let's talk a little bit about a government directive, what the government told the people to do. So first, as we said, the quarantine, people who enter Israel from different countries need to be in quarantine for 4 days. like myself. Right now, it doesn't matter what country you came from. You have to be in quarantine. And also, as I said, if you see that you were at the same place at the same time where another person that have corona was there, you have to go to quarantine also. Why 14 days? The symptoms start between 7 to 21 days after you get it. So this is like the average. Yes, I'm in Israel right now. So when was my flight? Almost 2 weeks ago, I flew to Israel. I landed here last Friday, like 2 weeks ago. So I'm finishing my quarantine this coming Friday. I just decided to come to Israel instead of being stuck in my apartment. I will be stuck in my house with my family. Okay, so this is the quarantine. Not much of a fun, but what can we do? The second is education. From March 18, if I remember correctly, they decided to close all the education institute. It means preschools, elementary schools, high school, high education, colleges, universities, until further notice. So right now, most of the things move to online, and they're online, but we still don't know when we will be back. Transportation. So basically what they did, they decided that the buses and the public transportation will end by 8 p.m. So you cannot get any public transportation after 8 p.m. and no public transportation on weekends. Economy, that I think this is one of the main issues right now, beside the healthcare, and we will talk about it in a few minutes. So what they did, they limit the number of employees in a workplace. So only 15% of the employees can work. And what that made, that a lot of people needed to take unleave vacation, unpaid vacation. So people needed to, it was not even their choice, it was the business choice. So a lot of people right now are in vacation when they're not getting money in their salary. The other is that people got fired because the businesses could not hold them anymore. And that only 15% of the businesses that are still open, because a lot of businesses needed to close. Because we talked about a little bit, I touched in the quarantine, but there's a limit of how many people can be in the same room at the same time. So right now the limit is 8 people, and you need to be in a distance. So a lot of businesses cannot really work because they're big and they usually have more people, or the other hand, people don't leave their houses. I will say another thing about that. So as I say, you cannot be more than 8 people in one space, to share one space more than 8 people. And right now you're not allowed to leave, to go out from your house 330 feet. So if you need to walk the dog or just go get some air, you're not allowed to walk to pass that distance. And also, like in the car, you don't need to be more than 2 people, and it's relatives, and these things. Okay, I want to show you a video that they made in one of the news channel. This video show Tel Aviv these days. Yeah, I will just let you watch. And there's a nice song in the background. So Bill, you said this is how it looked like in Yom Kippur. So I say, even in Yom Kippur, you will see more people on the street than now, because in Yom Kippur, people usually just walk around, ride their bikes and everything. And right now, really, most of the people staying home. I can say that during the 2 weeks I was here, people still like walk to the beach and stuff like that. And then the government made become more strict, and also the police got involved, and they also use the IDF to really make sure that people won't be more than 8 people in one place. So what about the soldiers? I don't know if you asked yourself or not. So the soldiers that are usually in what we call closed base, means that they sleep in a base and come home like every week, every other weekend. So right now they're staying in their bases for about a month. I think they're supposed to come back in a week or two, but it might change. Again, we don't know. Some soldiers, the one that are serving in open base, which means that they come back home every day. It depends. Some of them stayed at home if they're central, and some not. I can show you, this is a picture that my brother sent us a few days ago. This is actually him in the picture on the right with the mask. His unit, they're cleaning a nursing house, and they're also helping delivering food and medicine to the residents. So there are a few units in the army who are doing it, and by accident, this is him in the picture. And let's talk a little bit about update numbers. So right now, I listened to the news like an hour ago. We have 5,358 number of corona cases. A lot of them, some of them in quarantine at home. It depends on how hard is their condition. Some are staying in a hotel in Tel Aviv. They call it the Corona Hotel. This is for people who are more like light condition. They're feeling good, but they just have the virus. And some, of course, in the hospitals. We have 105 patients in a medium condition, 94 in a serious condition, and 21 deaths. Most of the deaths were older people. But I think yesterday or 2 days ago, we had 2 deaths of 49 and 50-year-old women. Some of them had previous issues. So right now, this is the number. Hopefully, it won't go up too fast. So what are the main issues that we have right now? So first, healthcare system. There are a lot of criticism about the system, and it's coming in few directions. First, supply. A lot of people said that we don't have enough supply. If it's supply for the doctors and nurses, if it's gloves and masks and everything that they need to protect themselves. Some private people, I saw an article not a while ago that some private person, he bought a lot of masks, and now we give it to different hospitals. They're also saying that if the number of the patient that will need to get treatment, they won't have enough room for them. And this is another issue. And also breathing machines, that they don't have enough. They're afraid that if they will need more, they won't have enough. I can tell you that, again, I saw on the news that there are a group of people, some of them are volunteers, that are working right now on developing a breathing system, a breathing machine from materials that we can find here in Israel, at least to help the hospitals and give them some solution to that issue. The other thing is the ultra-Orthodox community. I don't know if you had a chance to hear about it or not, but it took them a while. To some of them. The ultra-Orthodox divided to a lot of different groups. Some of the groups, they had really hard time to accept the fact that we are not supposed to be more than 8 people in one space, and we need to keep distance. So the police have a lot of issues with that, but I know that right now it become better. They understand more, and the police will give tickets to if they see a group of people that are not supposed to be together.
Adi,
And also about that, the fact that they didn't listen to the government. I think every third person in Bnei Brak, the Orthodox city, have a corona, and it's a lot. So right now, this is the issue with them, but I do know that they getting better. As I say, you can divide them into few groups. Some of them from the beginning listened and did whatever they need to do. Some of it not. It's still an issue that we're dealing with. Independent businesses. People that have their own business, usually small businesses, saying that right now they're having a really hard time because they're not getting paid from the government like people who work for a company. And they still need to pay rent, they still need to pay their bills, and they really need and asking for the government to help them with that. Gordon tried to say something.
Yeah, Adi, I was just going to say that the today's New York Times had an editorial on the Haredim and the problems with the disease control in Israel.
Yeah, so it's exactly that, because I think like a week ago they had a big funeral when 300 people came, and again, it's not allowed. They're not supposed to be so many people together at the same time. But this is really something that I think the leaders of the Orthodox community understand more, and they're trying to really take care of it. And I know now that if you will walk, for example, on Bnei Brak streets, you will see less and less people. So it is get better. It was bad, yes. So as I say, the independent business, their main issue right now is the economy and the money. Unemployed. So as I said, a lot of people lost their job. Right now, we have almost 24% of unemployed people in Israel. And people really don't know how it will affect the economy after that crisis, and B, how people will get out of that crisis in their own economy, in their own financial issues. And the last issue is the government. As you know, we had elections not a while ago. And right now there is a process. There is some direction to form a government. But again, because of all the corona issue, it's not on the top issues, but it's still an issue. So it is something that the government working on it while they're working and trying to figure out all the coronavirus issue. Any questions about that before I'm moving on?
Adi, I have a question.
Yes.
The Israeli mortality rate's about a fourth of what it is in the United States. It's about 0.36% there versus about 1.4% here. Do you have any idea of what Israel's doing differently, or what the United States should be doing to lower our mortality rate?
First of all, I think some people might disagree with me, but I saw that.
We know that.
I know, yeah. But I saw the whole process when I was in the US. So I was not here to experience that, but from what I see in my eyes is that Israel started to deal with that pretty early. And it was in the people awareness. As I said, even before we had the first corona case, the media talked about that and people knew about that issue. I can say that really the media talked nonstop about that, even before the first case. And the government start with their streak pretty early. They start with the quarantine and people start wearing gloves and a lot of people start working from home. So they started to act, I think, pretty early. They might need to do it earlier. They might need to do something else. You know, we can never know, but they did something. Which in the US, I think the first case was in January in Boston, but I don't know, until like 3 weeks ago, I know that people don't really talk about it with me. I mean, we were in APAC in 18,000 people conference, even after the corona was in the US. And in Israel, everything got canceled. All the conferences and stuff like that got canceled because they understood that we cannot be that many people at the same time in the same place because it's not safety.
A question, kind of sort of question for Bill, I think maybe. Is there a difference in the testing? Is Israel testing a lot more people than we're able to at this point?
So I know that in the beginning, one of the criticisms was that Israel is not testing enough. And I know in the last few days, they're starting to test more. Actually, today, I think my mom sent me an article that says that they're going to open a testing center also here in Modi'in. So this is something that they really worked on, to test more.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me just see the
Still doing that here.
I'm sorry?
Testing here isn't great either.
Yeah. Well, and the first counts for proximity counts, not testing counts.
I think Israel's up to about 30,000 tests a day.
Okay, let me just see the questions from Facebook. Margot is asking, is the hotel closed? I'm not sure it's closed, but I think it's limited. I saw that today they cleaned it actually. They cleaned the wall and they took all the notes outside. I'm not sure if it's closed or not. I can check. It might not be closed, but just limited. Just aware of how many people get in and they're keeping their distance. But again, I'm not sure.
Are they allowed to take the notes out of the wall?
I guess in cases like that, yes, because they cleaned the wall.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw a picture with two people standing next to the wall and just a bunch of notes on the ground. Yes. Okay. Okay, let's talk about some good things that happening during the coronavirus. So something that I always say about Israel and about Israelis, that they will always take care of each other. And this is one of the things that I feel that this is the most beautiful things about Israelis. So here I took some pictures from an article that was a few days ago that you can see so many people volunteer. On the top left, you can see a volunteer that came to play with a kid with special needs because they don't have right now where to go. They stay at home. So volunteers are going to play and babysit kind of thing on kids with special needs. On the bottom left, you can see people that just go to watch kids, not necessarily special needs, because some of the parents do need to go to work because they're essential workers. So they come and watch the kids and helping these families. On the top right and also down right, this is two different organizations. Basically, these are people who make contact with seniors, or seniors reach out to them, and they're doing their grocery store, buy their medicines, help them with whatever they need, so they won't leave the house. And beside that, I saw that in one building in Ramat Gan, the young residents reach out to the older residents and ask them, tell us what, like each one kind of adopted a resident and take care of their medicines and groceries and food and really whatever they need. And I think this is like the cases that we see, like the pretty Israeli and the beautiful and the really the so much care that people have for each other and they want to help to each other. And yeah, that's about that. And what about me? Let's talk about me a little bit. So I'm finishing my quarantine on Friday. Yay. But I can't leave my house unless I need. I mean, I'm going to grocery store to buy some medicines. So on Friday, I will be able to leave my room, but I cannot really leave my house unless I'm going 100 meters, 330 feet. Pretty sad. But I am working in programs and games and videos and lecture like today that we can do together. I'm posting things on my Facebook and Instagram every day. There are also things on the Reading Federation website. And although each one of us is home, we still can be together. So much fun. Any questions?
That's cute.
Any questions on Zoom or on Facebook? I think they're Facebook a little bit in delay. So if you have any questions that you haven't asked, I'm going to move a slide because this is a little bit driving me crazy. Any questions?
I think there may have been a couple more people on the call, but as it turns out, I checked with Amanda when I couldn't log on in Zoom, and she actually put the wrong ID number on the.
Oh, it's me. It's not her. Oh, it's the wrong ID.
So I finally chased Amanda at her house and managed to get the right number. Wasn't that she put a 5 in instead of a 6 in the ID number there?
Okay, my bad. Sorry, but I think I might have recording on that. I forgot to record it on Zoom, but because we're live, I guess I will be able to save the record and then we can save the video.
Oh, wonderful.
But thank you for making the effort to join us.
Our pleasure.
Any questions? I've been checking on Facebook.
So right now, you're still stuck in your bedroom.
Yes.
You're allowed out of your bedroom, I assume, to like go to a bathroom. That's probably not in your bedroom.
So we have the restroom in my parents' room. So it's only for me. So every time I'm leaving my room, I need to wear gloves and wear my mask and not touch anything. And this is basically the only time I'm leaving my room. Sometimes I'm trying to open the door and talk to them. And then my dad tell me to close the door. But yeah, but you know, this is Tuesday. For me, it's the end of the day. I have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm out to my living room. But yeah.
When you can, get outside and get some fresh air within, staying in right distance.
Yeah, we have a park really next to my house. So maybe I will go get some tan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are the people on the street masked and gloved also, or are they still walking without masks?
So the people who are walking on the street, most of them not. They should wear gloves and mask. I know that my friend, he have a dog, so whenever he walk with her, he wearing gloves and mask. And even when people go to the grocery store and everything, they wear gloves and mask. There is also a commercial on TV, really, that shows that, for example, if you don't wear gloves, whatever you touch, it's like moving forward to other people. So I touched something and then someone else touched it and he got it, and it's moving on. yeah, so I think people now understand more. I will say I believe some people still don't understand the big issue, because like a week ago people went to the beach, and stuff like that. But there is really a big effort, the media and even celebrities and all these people that's saying stay home, this is safe. And yeah.
I'm not sure if you're seeing any news out here, at least Lancaster County. We're under the stay-at-home order. So we are allowed to go to like walk on trails and things like that. Playground equipment at parks is generally fenced off, or and again, you can go for food, you can go for meds.
I think it's
And
also
walk.
the same as here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people, I know that also the police, walking on the street to make sure it happens. Then if you don't do what you need to do, you get a ticket. And they also work in with the IDF police and different soldiers to just have more people to help them with that. But yeah, if you're not initial and you don't have to work, you need to stay at home.
And restaurants are takeout only or delivery.
If they didn't close the restaurant, yes.
Yes.
Mostly deliveries, but yeah.
Well, it looks like you jumped from the fry pan into the fire, going from Berks County to Israel.
Yeah, we'll see. I really hope that I will be able to come back as soon as I can.
But in Israel, she at least has family with her.
Mhm.
Instead of
I
your
have.
little
I was
apartment.
not able to touch them yet and hug them. But Friday, in we have a term. It's usually when you in the army, when you pass the half, when you reach to the half time that you need to do, we're saying that you touch the wall. Don't ask me why. So right now I already touched the wall, so I have really few more days, and then I'm done with quarantine. Yes.
How did
Any other questions?
did anybody speculate as to how things got started in Israel? Was it from spillover from Iran, or just the world travel generally?
I read an article, I think they think it's from China.
Really?
Yeah.
I talked about it in the beginning. So the first were the cruise that came to Israel, but 11 people that were in the famous cruise, but they went to quarantine immediately. But the first person who got corona in Israel was a person who came back from Italy, and they found out it 4 days after he came back. Yeah. But I know that China is getting better, so there is some hope.
So they say.
What?
So they say.
That's why, yeah. I want to believe that.
Yes. Yes.
I want to.
I think even Italy is beginning to see a decrease in the number of new cases. So it does go away. Not necessarily completely.
I'm really curious to see how things will be when it's all be over. Like, I mean, how countries will get better from that, and how they will recover. That's the word, how the countries will recover from that crisis.
I was just reading an article about getting the Americans back from various foreign countries and the complications involved, because so many of the airlines are closed down and many of the places where they are don't have connections to a quote decent airport so that they can get out. And the question is how much of the delegation from any of the from any of the countries of ours should they leave, and how many they should come out. I mean, it was a real interesting concept of trying to balance. You need to have a certain amount, but the rest, should they leave, and then how do we get them out?
Yeah, no, it's a problem. I know that El Al, the flight company, the Israeli flight company, they had a plane that rescued travelers from Peru.
Mhm.
And I know that they kind of took on themselves to help the Israelis around the world and bring them back home. Of course, there are some places that they're not able to do that, but they are trying, and the Israeli government is trying.
I also saw an article about a flight coming out of Israel with Americans. It began with the Reform Movement has a semester of high school in Israel program. And the decision was made to bring all the kids home, and attempting to find a flight for 80 whatever people, they ended up chartering a flight. And the quote in the article was something about how much it cost. And it also was open to other nonprofits, other organizations in Israel trying to get people home, but they chartered an El Al plane. And apparently it's really expensive, but they got.
I know that I think from Peru, the travelers didn't need to pay, but I know that from different places, they did need to pay. It was pretty expensive.
I believe those are the organizations paid, not the individual travelers, but the organization that runs Hell or High in Israel.
Yeah, it makes sense that
the
the organization will take their responsibility on that.
Yeah.
So we were supposed to be in Morocco. Actually, we were supposed to be coming home today, but we canceled it before. And the repatriation flights said to make your way to Marrakesh somehow for a flight at whatever, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 5 o'clock. But you have to sign an IOU to the US government, no cash, no credit cards. You basically sign a lien for, I think it was around $1,500 to come back.
Wow. Yeah. So if you don't have any more questions, I will say thank you for coming. Toda rabba. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. If you think about any questions or something, you're welcome to reach out to me by email, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah. Have a good afternoon. Right?
Stay healthy.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this.
It's great seeing you, Adi. Thank you for doing this.
Well, thank you.